Hello, Wellness Check Wednesdays community. We wanted to take a moment to remind you that while our podcast serves as a safe space for open discussions and sharing experiences, we are not mental health experts. This podcast is a platform for you to express your thoughts, feelings, and experiences in a judgment-free zone. Our aim is to foster connection, provide support, and create a sense of community. It's crucial to acknowledge that we are not a substitute for professional mental health advice or treatment. If you or someone you know is dealing with mental health challenges, we strongly encourage seeking guidance from qualified professionals. Remember, reaching out to mental health experts can make a significant difference. If you ever feel the need, don't hesitate to connect with a licensed therapist, counselor, or healthcare professional.
This is the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast, a share space, a judgment-free zone, a place to meet and discuss our mental health. So let's check in.
Well. Oh, it's the month of June. And I am thankful to bring this back to you for episode 27 of the Wellness Check Wednesday podcast. And as always, we invite each and every one of y'all to come in and let's check in. With that being said, my name is Brian Livingston, aka Be Live. I am the moderator here at the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. And I am thankful for those that are in attendance with us on today, including the originators, first coming from Cleveland, Ohio, the one, the only, my man, Edwin Vereen.
It's getting warmer, and I'm about to be busy. But other than that, man, all is well. I can't complain.
I understand it. I think our other originator just snuck in the building. So by way of the shared studios here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, my man Kevin Marshall.
It is a hot one today, fellas.
I believe it.
I think we got it in the low 90s today, didn't we?
Low 80s.
Low 80s? I've been inside, so it's been 65 and crispy for me. So I don't know.
Smart.
Also joining us, my man AD. How you doing today, sir?
Good, sir. Amidst the chaos, I'm making it through.
Yeah.
Awesome. And also we have by way of Fayetteville as well. I believe he's on the road, so he'll join us when he can. But our very own Joe Dabagire.
What's up?
There he is.
There he is.
Good to have you. And so we're going to just jump right into it. As I mentioned earlier, it is the month of June, which means it is a Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And, we've tried to profess that this format that we have here is for everyone and anyone. This particular episode, we're going to focus on the men folk when it comes to mental health, because there is a stigma that exists in society when it comes to men, especially. I know I can attest to this, and I believe most of us can, is that when it comes to men and when it comes to mental health, it is oftentimes looked as a sign of weakness whenever men talk about their thoughts, their feelings, whenever men decide to go seek therapy for things that they're going through. It sometimes is a little bit more difficult because of the way it is perceived by most people, especially in minority circuits, African Americans, Latinos, especially when it comes to just like how you're looked upon if you're not always tough and strong and you don't wear your heart on your sleeve and you have this rigid exterior. And so with it being Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, we want to really emphasize on how important it is for us, even at times, to tear the walls, break the walls down, as Chris Jericho Y2K would do back in the day, and really just dive into certain things that we may or may not talk about from a day-to-day basis just because of how it may look, how people view us as, and does it make a man look weak when he talks about his thoughts, his feelings, his emotions, his mental status? And so at this moment of time, I am going to pass it over to our very own Edwin Vereen as he opines on this particular topic in this particular month.
In case anybody missed it out there, June is Men's Mental Health Month, Mental Health Awareness Month. The best thing about it is that, as B Live said, this is being brought to the forefront because, as we know, like in the African American community, it is considered as a sign of weakness. I don't know why. You probably can trace it all the way back to, the origins of African Americans here in the United States of America. It's a lot to bear, man. Men, we go through a lot, especially the men that are taking care of families and have a lot of responsibilities. And some people, they still do the traditional roles, where the man does go out and does the breadwinning, and woman kind of take care of the kids and everything. But it's 2024 and everybody has different roles. So I'm not saying that women should be doing this and men should be doing that. I'm a firm believer of do what y'all got to do to make sure your house and your family function. I'm a firm believer of that. So let's get into it. Men's Mental Health Month is observed in June. It serves to shed light on the mental health struggles faced by men and to dismantle deeply ingrained societal stigmas and encourage open conversations about men's mental well-being. So as I'm looking at one of our infographics here, let's go ahead and look right into it. Mental health in men. Men are less likely than women to seek help for stressful events due to substance abuse and depression. Social norms about masculinity, downplaying symptoms, and feeling disconnected and isolation as well, too. 1 in 5 people experience mental illness a year. Men of color are at a greater risk. And then it has the suicide rates here of male and females by age back in 2016. And from the looks of it, you can see that the males' suicide rate is more high than women at 65 plus, between 32.3% versus 5.2% for women. 55 to 64, 28% to 9.4%. And our age group, let's go ahead and say that. Let's see, 35 to 44, 26.3% and 8.6%. Depression. Over 6 million men struggle with depression each year. Men are likely to report fatigue, irritability, loss of interest, rather than feelings of sadness and worthlessness. Anxiety. More than 3 million men have a panic disorder, agoraphobia, or any other phobia. Psychosis and schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is one of the most leading causes of disability. The age of the onset is sooner in men than it is women, typically in late teens to early 20s. So that's a whole lot going on. And then I have one more infographic to read as well, too, courtesy of private healthcare. What 1,000 men said about their mental health. Actually got some men to talk about that. That's a good thing. The biggest cause of mental health issues in men's lives, 32% say work pressures. Yeah. 31% says financial issues. 23% say their health. 40% of the men polled said it would take thoughts of suicide or self-harm to compel them to seek professional mental health. 40% have never spoken to anyone about their mental health. 29% are too embarrassed to speak about it, and 20% said there is a negative stigma on the issue. And 77% have suffered with symptoms of negative mental health. So, as stated, this is why this has come about, Men's Mental Health Month, because it should be brought to the forefront based on the numbers I read in some other studies that we have to make sure that we have our mental health as a top priority. You know, you can have your mental health, I mean, you can have your physical health, but you also have to make sure that your head is right too, because if your head ain't right, the rest of you don't function. I'm just saying, yeah, as most of you know, I'm an advocate of mental health, particularly among men. And deep down, I just wish that the societal stigma of men not wanting to talk about it because it represent weakness, it's I don't want to say it scares me, but it's bothersome that you have a lot of angry men, a lot of angry guys walking around this country, walking around these neighborhoods, the communities, your job, going through a lot, and they don't talk to somebody. And from what I've gathered, a lot of men that would talk to women said that the reason they don't talk to you, that won't open up to their, their lady counterparts or their lady friends or whatever, is because they'll throw it back in their face later on down the road. Fellas, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you dealing with that type of woman, go find you somebody else. Just go find you somebody else. Okay, how long you been together? If she's that dirty, because that's dirty, that's playing dirty pool. If you want to sit there and just dangle over your head, well, something wrong with you. I mean, I thought the point of relationships was try to help each other and be there for each other during the good times and the bad times. I thought marriages were, through sickness and through health, for better or for worse. But nowadays in 2024, with the influence of social media and everything, there's an unrealistic explanation placed upon men and unrealistic explanation placed upon women, and now here we are. But yeah, to the fellas, I'll say it like this: find you a good woman that's gonna open up and let you be who you be without fear of judgment, fear of ridicule, and all that. Because as a man, I don't like getting judged and ridiculed. There are some times where I open up too much, but I'm selective on who I open up to. But yeah, fellas, if you're out there listening to this, nothing wrong with therapy. Take care of your mental health and make sure you're good. What say you, Brad?
Well, yeah, man, I can definitely resonate with that. I am so fortunate that my job kind of provides some of these benefits about mental health. I'm so glad they provide it because I transparency full. I have used it a couple times, had to, just because of how things were going at one place I was at, and it helped out. It definitely helped out. And that one thing about the stigma in the Black community about mental health, it needs to go away. When I first kind of ran into some of the mental health stuff, I didn't. I knew what it was because a lot of my friends had issues, but I didn't know that I had it. And I bring it up to my family, and then they're like, "You ain't got nothing to be sad about," blah blah blah. And I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
was
what?
you don't know you don't know what's happening here. And then of course, um, I don't want to bring any like sadness or anything, but 2017 was not a fun year. I'll just say that from January to December, that was not a fun year for me. And it just took a toll. And I figured out, all right, do I get the right help? Who do I talk to? Do I have to get medicine? Like, how am I going to fix this? Because I can't get through life at this time on my own. So, yeah.
Kev, what say you?
It's it's one of those things that as generations have passed, and me growing up in the 90s, it was one of those things that it was like you have to be hardcore, you have to work, there's no time for softness, that it's become embedded. And one thing that has resonated with me for a few years now is that I went through a bad, like horrible drinking phase. And I know we've all done it at one point in time, but I've had that core counsel of my best friend, my brother B Live, like to say, like, get your head out of your ass. Like, B Love has told me that, you know, how bad my drinking was. It was terrifying to be around because it seemed as, in a sense of, as B Love has said, like, you just didn't care. Like,
It's sad when B Live's the voice of reason.
but that really resonated with me, and it was like, do I value feeling how I'm feeling right now on this high of alcohol and drinking and other things? Or do I really actually value this core council and the people who genuinely care, who want to see better, who want to see me thrive? And it's one of those things that at certain points, yes, all of us, I don't want to open up because, oh, they're going to laugh at me. They're going to call me a loser. They're going to call me a wimp, this, that, and the third of everything else just because I shed a tear. But as humans in general, male or female, and especially for this month, for males, that it's okay. Like, even you have said it, Eddie, it's, and Be Live, that like, find that core council, find those solid folks that are willing to listen and willing to give you the best advice, not just on their benefit, but a benefit of a nugget that you can turn and make it into a diamond. Let's say it's a cold nugget, and you can turn it and make it into a diamond to where I really do appreciate that life lesson. I really do appreciate that life advice of what conspired or what could have been.
Joe Dad, what say you?
And I have to agree with these guys. I mean, uh, the core group that we got, I'll echo on what Kevin said, is, man, they get me through all my shit. Like, honestly, like, some of the conversations we've had, always beneficial, man, always beneficial. I'll actually have to say it too. B Live is the voice of reason half the time.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you, he is a voice of reason. The sad thing is he doesn't listen to his own advice.
Uh-oh.
But we're not getting there. We're not getting there. We're not going to go into that. But I will have to say, I kind of disagree with you, Ed, on in terms of the whole showing weakness to a woman. I don't want to go to that extreme. It's okay to talk to your partner, and in my head, right? I see like that's perfectly fine. But sometimes you gotta be strong for the family and lock that shit up and confide in your friends and talk this stuff out with your friends. You don't need to worry your, like, let's say it's your wife, right?
Well, she needs. I mean, I hate to interrupt, but she needs. If we're together and if we're a family unit, she needs to know what's going on. I can't walk around.
No, I'm not saying keep them in the dark. I'm not saying keep them in the dark.
Me personally speaking, I just can't walk around the house and be like, "There's clearly something wrong," but I'm not telling her. Like I said before, if I'm with you and I cannot talk to you about what's going on with me, if I don't have that level of comfortability, we don't need to be together. We don't need to be together. And if you want to dangle over my head, we don't need to be together. But go ahead.
I've heard this conversation before, and I'm just trying to be devil's advocate, I guess. But in this sense, is sometimes the things that you're worried about, and men and women think differently. Obviously, we know that. The things that you're worried about may be as simple as, like, you just didn't think about it in a different way. You talk to a buddy, they fucking explain some shit, and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. You were worried for nothing. It's all good. You can figure this shit out. Maybe your buddy can help you with something. No big deal. But if you go to a woman with these problems, they may freak out, man. And to be fair,
all depends on what kind of woman you got.
Let me jump in real quick because I've been listening to both, and I honestly think y'all talk about two different things. And so and both of y'all have valid points when it comes to relationships, when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to the 50-50, hey, we're in this together, We don't want to hide something from somebody. That's one thing. On the other thing, I mean, of course, we've as society has changed how the male slash female responsibility within the relationship has changed over the course of time. I mean, still there's some core values in there. Both of y'all are making very valid points. Joe is on the side of, hey, we need to be strong for the family unit as men. Yes, very much so. We are supposed to be the protectors. And on the other hand, he is saying that, hey, as much as we can be strong for our family, but there's still going to be some times that, hey, we need to hash some things out. Let's talk about it as opposed to just taking it like nothing's wrong, nothing's ever wrong. So you're talking about two different things, and both of those apply when it comes to a healthy relationship. Our focus right now, more than anything, is how, as men, do we have that balance?
And
right? And essentially, give me just a moment, Kev, on this, is that finding that balance, knowing when and what's a good time to have those conversations, because like I said, that stigma is still there. Like, Ed, I agree with you 100% when it comes to, if you can't talk to your companion, to your partner, that's a major problem. Communication needs to be there. At the same note, we should be as this is something that I'm adamant about. It's probably why I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. Is that as a guy in a relationship, we should have a certain level of, let's make this thing happen. Let's get through it together. Let's toughen up and bear that weight that we are actually designed as men, especially with our mental capacity. Because if you don't have the mental capacity to take on someone else and be strong for someone else in a relationship, shouldn't be in a relationship. I'm very adamant about that. And so that's what that society has allowed weak men to get into relationships. And then those relationships, those situationships, whatever Jada Pinkett Smith wants to freaking call it, then you turn around, a child is born into this world, and guess what the guy does? Because he's already weak-minded, he can't handle it, and he takes off, and the family circle is already broken. So that's why I want to make sure that everybody understands, and like I said, there's points on both sides.
And they just bring up an excellent point that I'll agree to disagree with you, Joe. I love you to death. I will consider you a brother to the day I die. But at the same time, like B-Live just said, that if you don't have that communication with your significant other, that it goes back to a question of how strong can I be? How long can this last before you finally crack? Because what a lot of men don't do nowadays is have that voice out, is have that outlet of somebody who would just listen without a response, without an emotional response, without a comeback, without even, like Ed said, without having that significant other hold it over your head later on, because now you're showing weak, now you're depressed, now all you want to do is sleep. And you know, playing matchmaker in high school with a lot of my friends that I grew up with at that point in time, it grew to be one of those points that it's like, do you truly understand this person? Like, and even like B-Live had just said, am I willing to take the load off at a certain point? And you know what? You relax. I will spoil you. I will treat you. Let me show you I can handle this also with you, not in front of you, not behind you, but beside you. And it's one of those things that this generation has forgotten of nowadays, that a lot of people want to either be out in front or be behind somebody, but why not be beside me? Take it on with me, because you never know what those silent battles are that people are dealing with. And it comes to those points that, like Ed said, can I have communication with you to where I can trust you that, you know, we might be joking around having adult beverage, that you won't take it and turn it against me. And like I said, I wholeheartedly agree to disagree. And like B Life said, both are bringing up very good points, but dealing with mental health, it's, can you help me burden this load with me? Not against me and not contradict it to me, but can you help me with it?
I think when it comes to the men's mental health, and especially like in relationships, and like it, you know, we all as men, we all have various relationships with our friends, with our families, with our significant others, and our coworkers. And that's a lot. That's a lot of people to deal with, a lot of egos, a lot of attitudes, a lot of opinions, thoughts, and all that. I think from a mental health standpoint, you have to find that balance. You have to find that balance. Okay, when I'm at work, I should think about work, or when I'm at home, I should think about home. But then again, sometimes you don't have, sometimes you don't have that luxury to do that. But as far as men's mental health goes, um, I understand fully why some men have a hard time opening up. Matter of fact, I think if it wasn't for my mother dying right before Christmas of 2018, and then my brother dying no less than a year later, I probably would not be, seeking mental health and counseling like I've had over the past handful of years, because it was just always hold together, be strong, don't cry. Hold together, be strong, don't cry. I remember when my daddy died, when he passed away, the conversation I had with my guidance counselor, if you want to call it a therapist, it was very vague. I didn't say nothing. I just wanted normality to keep on. But the older I grew, I'm like, well, damn, my dad ain't here no more. I can't talk to him about certain things. And then, um, as men, if we have, so I'm gonna be real transparent with you. After my daddy passed away, I didn't have a solid male figure to get an example from. And for a while, I've always felt like, and I'm just finally getting over it because I'm 41. I feel like I've exceeded my own expectations. I felt like at times where those things that I, as a man, that I should know, I don't, because my father wasn't there, and the said male role models were nowhere to be, were nowhere to be seen. I couldn't. I mean, I didn't know who said what to who, and that caused them to go away from me or kind of just steer clear from me. Because I mean, a lot of this really didn't hit me till I was like, I don't know, mid-30s. But I had some resentment. I did have some resentment, but I told myself, look, um, you about to be 40, bro. Either you can be mad forever at the past, or you can look at your windshield. And like they say, there's a reason why the rearview mirror is small and the windshield is wide. It's bigger because you can see what's going on in front of you. The past is just a reference point. So I just told myself, like, if I ever see any young dudes that want to talk to me about something, come on, talk to me. Like, I mean, some guys told me, like, man, you give some good advice, man. I appreciate it. I'm like, thank you. I'm paying back that debt because I didn't have that there for me, because the time I needed somebody, nowhere to be found. So if I can instill something in a young man or a young boy, teen or whatever, I'm going to do that, because that also plays on your mental health. You start thinking about, well, damn, no one came around. My dad died. Well, what's wrong with me? What's this? What's that? You start overthinking things entirely too much, like it's your fault. But really, it's not, because sometimes it's some of that generational shit. It's some of that generational stuff. But I'm just glad 2024, we're finally coming around, and we're finally seeing that, hey, yo, I'm a man. I need to take care of my mental health. How can I do it? Knowing that you need help is the first step.
And to conclude on this real quick, I know we've had a lot of talking points and everything, and this is why men's mental health is so important, because there's so many different aspects of it. And relationships is definitely one of them, and I'm glad we definitely talked about that. As far as being the voice of reason, man, y'all putting a lot of pressure on, brother. Y'all killing me.
Hey, but it's honorable though, and it's truthful.
Yeah. I appreciate that because that means a lot, and it goes back to, and I know we got little less than a minute to go. Zoom is doing what it do, but I want to say this from the bottom of my heart. I look back at my life and the things that I've gone through, and there was a reason why I went through every single one of the pains and struggles that I went through. It ain't nothing else but at least touch one other person. Like, hey, you're not going through this alone. And I'm also trying to make sure that you don't go through what I've already been through. And so when it comes to men, let your ego go from time to time, and we would make so many big strides. Do not be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to cry. When's the last time you had a good cry with a good with a confidant? Man, what I tell you, I told you Zoom be acting up from time to time. It's all right though. I got and I want to test this out as well. We're going to see if I can get the other gentleman to rejoin us because it's going to be an extended version of Wellness Check Wednesday. Where because I mean I just feel like this topic in itself is very, very important, especially to all of us that joined in. And so Kev, I know you had a question for AD, so I'll let you go from here.
AD, I know we kind of like took over the mic and stuff, but did want to hear your opinion. We heard it from our brother Joe. We heard it from our brother Ed. But what say you, brother?
Oh, so again, as I did mention, with men's mental health, I know it's and there's always that stigma, not only within our own community, but also just as men in general. I mean, I mentioned that when I brought that up to my family in 2017, that I was having some mental health issues. They're like, "What do you mean mental health issues? Like what do you have to be depressed about it?" And I was like, "Have you seen what's going on outside? It is a very strange world. It is not a great world. There's a lot happening." And then, of course, just to kind of extend um, the year 2017, I went to more funerals than I've ever been to in my entire life. From January to December, I averaged about 4 funerals a month. That was rough. Friends, family, who else? God, it was ridiculous. And just as each month went by, I was like, okay, January, okay, that's a lot of people, but hey, memories of that person kept on, right? February, March, April, May, year went on, and then I lost three family members, two that helped raise me, and that was like the breaking point for me. I was like, I got to figure out some help. I was like, help. I got to get some help. Thankfully, the job I was at had certain resources, which was amazing. They had great resources to kind of like get through that. My doctor was great. She was able to help out there and kind of get me on, started on a few things, and it was a wake up call at that point. And I was just like, this is bad. And I ended a relationship that I shouldn't have ended, but I just wasn't in a mental capacity to be there for that person. And I was honest with her. I was like, I can't be here for you with all this stuff happening. I just can't be here for you. I was like, I hope you understand. She didn't understand, but it took a while. It took a while for her to get it. But yeah, like men's mental health. That is a thing that I wish a lot more people focused on, even though we have this month to, gather our resources, find more data, get some other things. But I wish that was something that a lot of people focused on because right now things are tough as it is, in the world today. And mental health is key because when you get to that breaking point, it's either you go to one side or either you're just broken and you can't fix it. And I'd rather have people be on the side of, hey, I can go find therapy. I can talk to the right people. I have resources. I've got benefits that can help not only possibly repair but also restore. So
Right.
those are my thoughts on the topic.
Definitely amen to that, brother, because it has gotten so bad to a point, like you had just said, that we as men, whether white, black, purple, yellow, whatever color you are, whatever ethnicity you are,
Mhm.
it has come to a point that we don't want to reach out. And it's like, reach out. It's okay to reach out. Like B Live said, it's okay to cry. It's okay to shed a tear. It is okay to be vulnerable.
I feel better every night. I mean, it's one of those things when you get to the point where you're down 2 tears and you can't cry. I feel like that's the worst feeling in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, we go through so much, we weather the storm so much, and yes, we get to that breaking point, and you can't cry. That's devastating. Where you can't even every night, and what that turns into is those manic moments, those lash out, those binge moments where you're behind a bottle and you don't know what to do anymore. And so it's one of those things like it's so much healthier to have an outlet. Whether, like I said, whether it be therapy, whether it, like I said, it's a good confidant. I have yet to seek professional help, but that's something that it's always been in the back of my mind. And so, and 80, to your point, where you said that you were with somebody and you 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 look hindsight 2020, you didn't want to end the relationship, but in your mind you weren't mentally strong enough to be in that relationship. That's could be not only the best thing you could do for not only the other person but also for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If they can handle it, and if it was meant to be I promise, like I've seen it too many times. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But there's also something that a Bible verse. I don't mean to be, and see Bible. I don't mean to be religious, but this is it's an historical document and it's wisdom. And the Bible says, "Be ye not unequally yoked with unbelievers." And the idea of that Bible verse is that, hey, and when it gets tough, when it gets rough, you want to be with somebody that believes in the same thing that you believe in.
Preach, preacher.
And so that I've seen it way too many times where people they do not meet on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, and on a mental level, and it's devastating. Those things you have to people. It's always physical. It's always looks. It's always how somebody makes me feel. No, 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 no. Let's take a step back. Can we connect spiritually? Can we connect emotionally? Sometimes the best thing to do is to cut ties. It's been way too many times where people try to stay in broken relationships and it just ends up being much, much worse. So, AD, I applaud you for having that's a strength that you were like, hey, I'm not strong enough to be here for you. I'm going through and I'm asking you in time, maybe we can reconnect, but I need to focus on being strong for myself before I even include somebody else. That's a
Yeah.
that's the strength to be able to admit when you're weak. There's too many times where people cannot stop for a second and be like, hey, I can't handle this on my own. That is a strength. That is not a weakness. This little parody that I always like to use whenever I was in the restaurant industry, because egos get in the way all the time in the restaurant industry, especially when it comes to service and bartender. The people are in the industry and they think that to be the best bartender and the best server is to be able to take on the most stuff. That is absolutely 100% not true. Your best servers, your best bartenders are the ones that can admit and know that they are struggling and will ask for help. You know why? Because they've taken their ego out of the picture and be like, hey, my number one job is to take care of the guest, to take care of the patron that's in the restaurant. And if I can't do it, I'm going to find somebody that can help me to make sure that that person is happy. And those are your strongest people, the ones that can admit it. So I applaud you for that. And trust and believe. And Joe, Joe left me, and I'm gonna punch him in the throat next time I see him. But he said something. He said something that is 100% true. I've got a whole bunch of knowledge and wisdom over the course of years because I done bumped my head too many times because I have trouble following my own advice. It sounds good when I say it, but I still struggle with that from time to time, knowing when I need help. I'm doing better now than I was before. And it's all steps going back into it. Man, I want you to know that personally from me that I know it hurt. I know it hurt when it happened. I know it hurt when you cut that tie, when you ended that relationship and you look back hindsight and it looks wrong. But I commend you. I commend you.
And
It takes a lot to do that. And that is a strength, that's not a weakness.
yeah, absolutely. It was tough because having to end that relationship, it was fairly new. I'll say it was fairly new. It was like about a year and change. And I just let that person know because every time I talked to her, it was never a happy conversation. It was like, hey, guess who died this week? And she was just like,
Ugh.
she's like, what is happening over there? I was like, I don't know. It's just not good. And I was like, I gotta step away for a little bit. I was like, I'll check in whenever I'm able to, because I was around family a lot. So I was like, I'll check in. Plus, it was long distance, so that was another thing too. It was long distance, so not only was that, she wanted to be there, and I was like, this isn't your burden to bear. As much as you're a light to everything and this, that, and the other, I was like, this isn't your burden to bear. As much as you want to help me, it's rough. Like, this is difficult. You haven't been through this before, and I don't even know how I'm going to deal with it. So, I ended it. We kind of had some plans. She was very angry at me. I had to, man, it was so bad. That was like, it was Survivor Series time. That's what happened. Yeah, so I had to sell her tickets, get her money back for what she had purchased. So I was like, man, this is hard.
Hey,
But
Oof.
yeah,
but like
so
B Live said, 80, kudos to you. Because as Ed said, the first step is admitting, but the second step is knowing that you're strong enough to do it.
mhm.
It's not a weakness. It is absolutely a blessing being able to be that strong to be, instead of dragging it out and causing more harm, that you were able to say, you know what? I need this time for me. I need to get myself together. I don't know who's looking at me in the mirror anymore.
And
That's what happened with me. That's what happened with me when um
God forbid people
yeah.
jump into these fast marriages and everything. And now you're when you get in a marriage, you're supposed to be stuck with that person. I mean, divorce is way too prevalent these days. I can't talk because I'm divorced, but it's one of those things where those are the equally yoked things I'm talking about. Like people jump into these and stuff like that. And so hopefully after mental strength and emotional strength that you can be able to revisit and then most likely run into somebody that matches that energy. And so I mean I'm still like you can ask Kev right now. I'm still out here like I don't even know what to do when it comes to trying to find somebody to match my energy. But the thing about it is I'm not necessarily looking because I'm still working on myself.
Hmm.
I'm not in a hurry. Every now and again, it feels that I like a little nice tender touch and everything. But at the end of the day, and especially diving into this topic of men's mental health, there's a certain element and there's a certain aspect to being a man. And so if I can admit to myself, hey, I'm not there yet as being a man, and like I said, there's a whole definition behind that. There is a tougher burden to bear being a man, and please don't cancel me out there for the ladies that are listening. I'm not saying it's easier to be a woman. I'm not saying that at all. Oh, no, Lord, please don't come with your just don't do it. I am saying that in order for us as men to be what we need to be for you. Yes, it could be 50-50. You can provide this and provide that, and we end this together and all of that. But it's still, and it's always going to be, no matter how much you can add 27,000 gender. My bad, Brian, don't go down that rabbit hole.
Squirrel moment. Squirrel moment. Hold on.
Don't do it.
I got one squirrel moment. I'm gonna make people laugh. AD, to what B Live just said, yes, he is not looking. He is absolutely content and he is finding himself again. But this man is mad as hell at me, and I love my old lady to death. But
here you go. Here you go. Ain't nobody asked you for none of that.
Oh boy!
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis.
There you go. There you go with that bullshit.
So when I told B Live the age of my old lady who I'm dating now, B Live was like, "You young motherfucker."
Hey.
Excuse my language.
Hey.
But he was like, "You got to go get in my dating pool, my age group." There's a 6.5 age year difference between me and my old lady. I love it.
It ain't that bad.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Well, hold on. He's mad as hell because when I gave him the statistics, he was like, "Motherfucker." Look, I had to run from him that night, and I was working doing security.
Wow.
Man had to leave his post.
I ain't gonna play a hate. I'm gonna congratulate. He done found him a sophisticated young lady that's around my age group, closer than his age group, that ain't got no kids and a good job
and never been married.
That's it.
Man, you've hit the dating triple crown.
For real, you have hit the triple crown.
You have hit the dating triple crown. Good job. Ain't been married, no kids, which means she got her own money. You ain't got to worry about some little crumb snatcher grabbing your shirt. I'm gonna tell my real daddy on you. And then also another thing you ain't got to worry about is that damn baby daddy.
But at the end of this, because I know my old lady listens to my podcast, baby, I love you. Just know I love you.
She listening? Let him slip up one time.
Just one time. That's all it's gonna take.
She has won the dating triple crown, and Kevin is the recipient. Boy, you luckiest man. Look here.
Ed, let me put this in perspective. Ed, hold on, wait. Ed, the young lady that was sitting beside me a few weeks ago,
yeah,
that's my girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm talking about.
They've evolved now. They like, are y'all Facebook official? I'm playing. Fellas, yeah, I'm actually glad, AD, that we extended this, because it is important. It's important for all of us from time to time to really dive into certain things. And I said we all are going through struggles in this life. Some of them are similar, some of them are not. I just want you to know, and I want Kev to know. He's been rolling with me for years now here in Fayetteville, and I thank God for him. And of course, you already know, it is important that we have these connections.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And it's important that like I said, that we have that release. And however we cope, like we want our coping mechanism to be healthy. Mm-hmm. And I think that this podcast does that. And I applaud Ed and Kevin for bringing their brain children behind this. I'm thankful for for the opportunities that have been presented to me that I can facilitate this. AD, I am thankful for you for joining us through this journey. Joe dropped off because of Zoom, but we're not paying any money until somebody sponsor us. But
I'm gonna be working on that. So here, and I'm gonna put this in the atmosphere, and I'm gonna put this into the air.
Yes.
I'm gonna get us a sponsor by the end of this summer.
Hey.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like other people's money.
me too.
It'll give us a chance to talk longer without Zoom being Zoom.
There you go.
And of course, with me working in radio, I can cut you one hell of a commercial. Yes, I can.
You got two of us. You see all these lights and stuff hanging behind and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gentlemen, the definition of other people's money. All right. With that, fellas, I'm thankful. Once again, this was episode 27 of the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. Thankful for each and every one of y'all, for all of our listeners, all of our supporters, and everything like that. Again, this is just an open forum. Join the talk. And as always, every single week, let's
check in. See you soon, Myrtle Beach, and yeah, don't be getting on my nerves neither.
Exactly.
Don't worry, we're gonna be there soon, Ed.
Yes. Hey, I already got that Sunday off, so hey. Yeah, I got the next 2 Sundays off, and also I'm gonna throw this out here real quick. The next time that we record, I will be a year older, so is going down.
Don't forget to send all your birthday gifts to Be Live. Send it to them
at the Shared Studios.
What's that? $? Live.
All right, I got some money to make. Let's go. I love y'all, bro.
All right, y'all be good.
All right, guys. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Check Wednesdays podcast. Please join us every week, Wednesdays on Zoom at 6 p.m. and join our Facebook group for updates and to participate. We care about your mental health, so let's check in.